da 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 da. No, I did that wrong. Hi everyone. Continuing the special weekend focused on Abba, today's song is S.O.S. And I understand that it was another big hit worldwide and has been covered by quite a few artists since it was released, including John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I have listened to, and Peter Cetera from Chicago, which I have also heard. So, I mean, not their versions of S.O.S., but those bands I have heard. So that's interesting to me, and maybe at some point in the future I'll check those out. Now, this video is sponsored by Aura, a data protection company. And even if we're careful about where and how we share our personal information, the risk of it ending up in the wrong hands is huge and growing as AI continues to develop. I recently learned that hackers can now buy Gmail phishing kits for just $25. Think about that. One of my personal goals for this year is to tighten up the edges of my own data security practices. So I've started using Aura. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points, like the dark web and public court records, to alert you about potential identity theft. And in the unlikely case of something going wrong, provides up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. Plus, they offer a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out to stop companies from selling your personal information, a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords, and more. I feel much better knowing that I have Aura's well-respected system in place, and I feel good about recommending them as well. I encourage you to make this your year to fortify yourself as much as possible too. If you don't already have a data protection service in place, I strongly encourage you to follow this link and make use of Aura's 2-week free trial. Piano.
I tried to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? S.O.S. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. S.O.S. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on? You seem so far away, though you are standing near. You made me feel alive, but something died, I fear. I really tried to make it out. I wish I understood what happened to our love. It used to be so good.
Okay. This is something. There are things. There's so much about this piece. Where to even start? All right. Let's start with the voice. It's incredible. And this is obviously also a piece which is rather autobiographical, isn't it? And she captures so much in that voice. It has this sort of childlike bewilderment to it. I mentioned yesterday how in the earlier songs I've listened to, when I listened to Abba, I caught this sense of deep sadness in the voices, in the women's singing solo voices. It comes out here too. But I guess even more than that, what stands out to me in this song is this childlike confusion and bewilderment. How it's almost expressed as a sense of wonder and amazement. It used to be so nice. It used to be so good. And it's incredible the way she's able to capture that side of things. What a contrast between the verse and the chorus. Instrumentally. Also, melody. This is one where it's almost like, well, the melody is very simple, but it's almost like the rhythm of the words is feeding us towards the end of the melody. Da 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 da. And so it's this sort of increasing, incremental increasing. Dum bum 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 da 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 dum bum bum. The verse is rather simple melodically, other than that. That's kind of repeated that same phrase most of the way through. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good, but it's all that sort of very conservative, small vocal range. It's compacted, and these few notes are just where everything is expressed. I have to mention that there is a piece of piano music, which is a sort of elementary, early intermediate piano students' technical musical study piece. And it's entitled S.O.S. It has this funny little quirky thing at the very end where the piano taps out the S.O.S. Rhythm. Well, I'd have to turn the piano on for this. And so you hear, just as the piece is finishing, you hear this S.O.S. And it's funny because it's all about fingering, and the student is having to do all these fingering tricks in this small little space of time, rather quick. And then at the very end, you hear da 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 da. No, I did that wrong. That is not the S.O.S. No, it goes triple it. Da 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 da. Because S.O.S. is 3 shorts, 3 longs, 3 shorts. And so it's kind of fun. I like to use it with students when they're kind of not terribly engaged, because this idea of calling for help, SOS, I can't get my fingers to work straight. Why did I bring that up? I'm going to guess, and this is just a guess, I'm going to guess that probably Abba doesn't use such a little show trick in this piece. But somehow when I hear SOS and I hear this da 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 da, I can't help but think of this piece with my students that I use, which has this same sort of da 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 da, and the way I hear in this song those repeated notes coming. It's not quite singing SOS here. The rhythm isn't the same, but still the sequence of repeated notes one after the other rather rapidly. Somehow into my mind, it's just because I have these other associations, and it comes to mind as, it's not quite there. It could be if they really wanted to be, but I don't think they were going for that sort of party trick.
I wish I understood what happened to our love. It used to be so good.
It's like you can hear the tears there.
So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on?
That's based on there.
When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on?
It's almost trombone. I'm never back to this. Dum, 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 dum.
So when you're near me, darling, can't you
Right, back
hear
to
me?
this.
SOS. And I
Okay. So I guess I started to mention the contrast between the verse and the chorus, and I kind of got distracted somewhere in the middle. I want to come back to that idea because this ending just reminded me of the beginning. I didn't talk about the piano introduction. Let's go back to that piano intro for a minute. I mean, it's just basically dancing down the scale. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 da. Right, so fairly simple. But what we hear coming up in the bass is key. It's really key. Well, this is key too. Dum, bum, 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 bum. That note that's being jabbed down in the bass. Somehow I feel like that's a really key anchor in this piece between the verse and the chorus, because there is such a contrast in instrumentation, in energy, even in the shape of the melody, and this pulse, and the fact that the piano is really jabbing it aggressively, dun dun dun, kind of like a drum. It is serving the role of a drum down there. Dum 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 dum.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find.
Now notice this da 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 dum is kind of da 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 ba bum da 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 dum. The piano has taken us down the scale. Now we hear sort of exploration of a few of those step downs. Da 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 da. It goes up a bit, but still we feel this sort of descending pattern. Da 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 da.
I tried to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood.
Here is where the piano part da 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 dum da 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 dum is also showing up. Whatever happened to our love? The voice is kind of expanding each of those little increments that we heard in the piano introduction. I wish I understood.
It used to be so nice. It used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? S.O.S.
Notice even this chorus. So when you need me, darling, can't you hear me? S.O.S. Everything. I mentioned this yesterday, how the song Yesterday didn't follow the same pattern of the descent feeling like it has a melancholy element to it. But here, so much of these little fragments of the musical phrases are descending. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? And even though we lift up, S.O.S., everything is down, 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 down. This gives an overall, it helps to create this sort of overall sense of things are falling apart between us. Things are not going well. This is not something uplifting. This is not something that we're happy about. We're sad about it. We feel it in this sort of drooping quality. But they managed to set it to music that is energized enough that we don't feel it as a dirge or a lament in that way. There's some energy to it. So there's this sort of, maybe that's one of the things that gives it this childlike bewilderment, because it's almost as if the child doesn't even know that it's something to be mourned yet. It's like somehow the idea of love dying is not really something that is really fully understood. So there's this contrast, and there's this kind of clash of moods in this piece.
Darling, can't you hear me? S.O.S. The love you gave me.
Okay, and this is why I wanted to come back here, because remember I pointed out the piano. Dum, 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 which sets up the verse. Now here we're in a very rock sounding chorus, and we don't hear the piano, but we hear other instruments doing what the piano did for us there.
The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. S.O.S. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When
And
you're gone,
that
though
really
I try, how can I
buzzy,
carry on?
powerful, brassy sound in the bass, which, interestingly, is doing a sort of contra motion. When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on? All down, down, down. Dee, 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 dum, is coming underneath, saying like, pick yourself up, keep going on. Life is going to continue. Bum. But musically, it also sort of focuses and channels and drives things, because if you have descending and ascending, it pressurizes things in a way. It's an old technique dating way, way back, and it simply works. The idea of contra motion musical lines, either moving towards or away from each other, does something wonderful to the music. And this is a moment where we have so much da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum in the light, higher range, to have this brassy, buzzy bass part coming in that moves in the opposite direction. Supercharges the music. It really does. As I said, I always find myself talking a lot about melody and melodic design whenever I listen to Abba. Here again, I can't help but notice it. But one of the things that I'm noticing as I explore each of these Abba pieces is that they don't use a single melodic formula. It's not like they've just figured out, oh, this is the way to write a great melody, and so let's do it a million times over. I haven't really listened to enough of them to know, but I haven't discovered yet any sort of melodic pattern or tendency or habit with their music, which I like. I love. I like the feeling that every single piece gives me, that somehow that piece was written specifically for that set of lyrics, specifically for that song. And its design is it belongs only to that song. I love that about what I've heard from Abba, and this makes me eager to explore more. I'm sure I will in the future. But this has been a fun weekend for me. I've enjoyed it a lot, and well, let's see what comes next. I'll see you soon.